my pleasure to have with me right now the Southern Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, Mike Rotunda. But Mike, there was a period of time when, in fact, that title had disappeared from you.
That's right, Gordon. Recently in Lakeland, Florida, I got disqualified and the title changed hands. It went to Ron Bass. And I myself go into the ring every time, as I told the people in Florida before, and as I've wrestled in professional wrestling since I started my career, I try to stay within the rules that are set by the CWF or any area of the world that I'm wrestling in. But I was just disqualified for a foreign object being thrown in the ring, and I think you have a film clip of that, and I'm glad that film clip was taken, because otherwise I would lose the title and it wouldn't be back in my hands right now. So can we take a look at that?
Yeah, I might point out the disqualification rule had been waived, which means you could lose the title via disqualification. However, after the National Wrestling Alliance Review Board reviewed the videotape of this particular match, the title was awarded back to Mike Rotunda. But actions do speak louder than words. Let's go now to the Lakeland Civic Center before a capacity crowd. You'll see exactly what we're talking about here. Mike Rotunda going up against Cowboy Ron Bass, the Southern Heavyweight Championship on the line. As I said, disqualification rule waived. We're looking at the last couple of moments of this match. Mike, and what were your thoughts at this particular time?
Well, right there, I believe, from reviewing the film, Ron Bass tried to run my head into the post, into the ring post, but I had fallen to the floor and slipped out of his arms, and he hit the post himself. We're both dreary right now. This is maybe 30 minutes into the match. So I just came back up, and I knew I was fighting for my life right there, Gordon, and I knew I had to go with everything I had. And I have Bass in a little bit more trouble than he had me in right there. So I'm just fighting for my life, trying to fight back, and keep coming on.
Right here, it appears that Bass is in trouble, and of course, using a wicked right hand that time put the 275-pound former Southern Heavyweight Champion Ron Bass to the mat, smashing him into the turnbuckle. Referee Bill Alfonso watching carefully, and of course, here you catch him with a beautiful forearm coming off the ring ropes, and Bass is in a lot of trouble, no question about it.
That really hurt him, Gordon, when he smashed his head into the post there, when he was trying to throw me into the post, and I was lucky enough to get out of that. Right now, I'm just working on that head because I know I got him in trouble. And he just blinded me right in the eyes right there, Gordon. This one thing about this Bass that I have to say, he's a very strong man. He's very capable of hurting you, so you have to be on your toes at all time and keep fighting back. He's backing me in right now, and he went to throw me across the turnbuckle, and I reversed it. And he hit the referee right there. Right there, he threw me off, and the collision knocked us both down, Gordon, and we're both feeling the pain of the brute of the match right there. It's, like I said, this is probably 40 minutes into the match, and the referee's counting right there. You saw J.J. Dillon throw a foreign object into the ring. But at this time, I never visually, I'm just trying to regain my thoughts right there and come up, gain my composure. As you can see right there, Ron Bass is putting the foreign object around his knuckles. And I just came up, he swung, I ducked, picked him up for reverse suplex right there. Still right now, I didn't know that object was in his hand. As I was coming up, I was thinking of covering him right there for the pinfall, and I saw that object, Gordon. And right there, I just thought, even though I follow the rules, that man just he could have really hurt me, and I was just defending myself.
Well, that's where that Latin temper took over, Mike.
I guess so. As I covered him here, I'll tell you, Gordon, in the excitement of covering and winning the match, I didn't even realize that I had that foreign object in my hands. And it wasn't until the referee pulled my hand down and saw it that I was aware that I had that object in my hand. And right there, I was totally heartbroken, because at that time I realized that I had lost the match, and it was because no fault of mine. I actually was just trying to defend myself, and I guess it was just second nature or instinct that made me pick that up and go for him, because he tried it on me.
I can certainly understand that, and I think anybody who's viewing right now can certainly understand why and what you did. Obviously, a devious ploy on the part of one and J.J. Dillon, but the NWA Review Board, in looking over this videotape, certainly in their wisdom, I certainly think did the right thing in returning the Southern Championship back to you.
Well, I hope it was the right thing, Gordon. And like I said, people of Florida, when I go into the ring, they can count on me sticking to the rules, but I'm not going to be anybody's patsy. If someone wants to come out and try to hurt me, whether it's Ron Bass, Elijah Akeem, anyone, I'm going to fight for my life, because when you're in that ring, you're on your own.
There's no question about it. It's certainly a pleasure to see Mike Rotunda with that Southern Heavyweight Championship belt back around his waist, and we'll be talking more to Mike a little bit later on in the program. We'll be back with more action in just a moment.
Introducing first from Sweetwater, Texas, weighing at 241 pounds, the Florida Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, Barry Windham. His opponent, from parts unknown, weight unknown, Man Mountain Mark.
Man Mountain Mark going up against Barry Windham. Windham, of course, having that beautiful Florida Heavyweight Championship belt returned to him. That Florida Heavyweight Championship, oh, brother, this Man Mountain Mark is moving in on Windham. He's got Windham in trouble early, buddy.
Well, Man Mountain Mark is a good 300 pounds. The man's solid muscle. You can tell the way he moves that he has been around wrestling for quite some time. But going up against Barry Windham, the Florida Heavyweight Champion, and Gordon, I certainly am very pleased, as are all the wrestling fans in Florida, that the Florida Heavyweight Championship title was returned to Barry Windham. The action was not upheld. It was returned, and now Barry does proudly wear that title once again. And right now, as quickly as Man Mountain Mark had Barry in trouble, Barry has Man Mountain Mark in a lot of trouble with a big forearm upside the head. Looks like Man Mountain Mark could be almost down and out.
Snap mare, and Windham down across the chest using those femoris muscles, and now hooks that far leg. But Man Mountain Mark powers out, as Buddy Gold said, some 300 pounds. Underhook on the one arm, and then a variation on a cross face. And it is Barry Windham pulled back into the near turnbuckle. All right, Windham. High hip toss now. Windham breaks it up, however. Back on his feet. Another hip lock takedown by Windham. Nice to have a group of good folks here today from Woodlands Convalescent Center. Nice to have them along with us, enjoying the matches.
Well, you know, Gordon, for a 300-pound man, Man Mountain Mark is quite agile. He's really been moving around a lot. However, he is in trouble, but the man has a lot of agility. Well, he's going for a body slam, but not quite.
Good recuperative effort by Barry Windham, and then caught him with that lariat. And I mean, he caught him. Man Mountain Mark almost lost about 20 ugly pounds that time, because he was darn near decapitated with that beautiful lariat by Barry Windham. I want to get Barry over here for a minute and see if we can't talk to him a little bit. I know that he's very pleased to have been having the Florida Heavyweight Championship returned to him. Barry had said all along that he had never lost it, that it was his, and that he would get it back. And my congratulations, Barry.
Thank you, Gordon. You know, this is back where it belongs now. There's one thing I want to say. You know, just here recently, I had a bunkhouse match, and Ronnie Bass and a certain friend of his thought that they could take care of me, and they brought in the original outlaw to try to take care of me, but it didn't work. And now I have this back, and we're going to take care of business, Ronnie Bass, because I want that saddle, and I have everything it takes right here.
What we were talking about earlier, Barry, before the program began, it appears that Bobby Duncum was very much involved at one time in that saddle.
That's right. And that's who they brought. They brought the original outlaw, Bobby Duncum, to try and take care of me. Let's show him what I did with it.
All right, I'll tell you what, and I can understand Barry's anxiousness in this case. Let's go back to Lakeland and the Lakeland Civic Center. It's a bunkhouse match. That means come as you are. And outlaw Bobby Duncum moving out there against Barry Windham, and it is Duncum who obviously is very much a part of the J.J. Dillon, Jim Holiday, conspiracy, if you will.
That's right, Gordon. You know, Bobby Duncum has been around around for a long time. He's another West Texas State boy, and he knows what it takes to get the job done. But in this case, Bobby Duncum caught me off guard. That wasn't who I was expecting in this match. So it took me a little while to get my thoughts together and get back on my train of thought. But when it got right down to it, Bobby Duncum and I got down to the meat of things in this fight right here.
All right, it is referee Bill Alfonso watching carefully. Of course, in a bunkhouse match, as you come as you are, both men wearing, or at least one of you wearing cowboy boots, and it is a situation here where just about anything, the evidence right there, anything does go.
Well, that's right, Gordon. You know, he caught me with that knee as I was coming into the corner. Just another one that he caught me unexpectedly with. But Bobby Duncum, you know, like I said, has been around a long time. And right here, he shows that he knows what it takes. He's pulling that boot off, and he started right away with it.
Well, you know, Barry, I've known Bobby Duncum personally for some 14, 15 years, and I will guarantee you this man is in the ring to win at any and all cost. He really doesn't care anything about what he has to do, as this will very well attest to. But then in a bunkhouse match, anything goes, and knowing that you have that Florida title also attests to your own ability.
Well, you know, you said it there. You said that Bobby Duncum doesn't care about money or anything, and he does what it takes. He was paid to come in this match. And Bobby Duncum, his forte is a bunkhouse match. That's the way he's learned. That's the way he's fought all of his life. And by using that boot and by using every way that he knows, that's all he came there to prove, was that he could beat me. But I believe we'll show this wrong, prove this wrong.
Modern-day gunslinger Bobby Duncum drives a knee into the back of Barry Windham, drives him from the ring. And at this point, Barry, obviously, as you said, you had intended to wrestle somebody else, and this did have to cause a last-minute change in strategy and everything else.
Well, Gordon, I don't want it to sound like an excuse, but Bobby Duncum was a total surprise to me. And J.J. Dillon and Ronnie Bass had it all well in mind. They knew exactly who was going to be there, and they thought that they would have that element of surprise on me. But it didn't work very long. Right here, Bobby Duncum has me outside the ring. The referee's counting. But like we said, anything goes in a bunkhouse match, and I don't believe that you can be counted out in this type of match. So we just continue out on the floor.
Well, you know, Barry, to me, this is really just a legalized street fight. Anything goes. You can use the chairs, the stairs, anything you get your hands on. And it seemed like Bobby Duncum has pretty well good control at this point in the match. But it seems like right now he's not being too swift by turning his back to you. I mean, this can be a big mistake on the part of Bobby Duncum.
Right here, buddy, all I was thinking is that I was going to get him any way I could. I came off the top rope with my lariat, and that's all it took for Bobby Duncum.
And so J.J. Dillon and Mr. Jim Holliday and the revolutionary movement stymied again. And thankfully, it's a pleasure to see Barry Windham with that Florida Heavyweight Championship belt back.
Thank you, Gordon. I just want to show this to Ronnie Bass and J.J. Dillon, because we have it right here.
All right, so I think that challenge certainly speaks for itself. We'll be back with more action after we pause. Mr. Kareem Muhammad are indeed the U.S. Tag Team Champions, evidenced by the trophy that is here with us. Mr. Jim Holliday is with us as well, and of course, in addition to having these two gentlemen, he also has the awesome Abdullah the Butcher as part of his group.
That's right, Gordon Sullivan. I'm going to get to the Butcher in just a minute, but right now I want to tell everybody, I want you to stand back and look. United States Tag Team Champions. If I felt any better, I couldn't stand it. I feel better all over than I do anywhere else. And it's because I got the greatest tag team in the world, #1 right here, United States Tag Team Champions. We showed them in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We showed them in Lakeland, Florida. We show them on national TV. We show them everywhere we go. We're the greatest in the world. We're an unbeatable team. I got the brains. They got the brawn. Can't nobody touch us nowhere. Nobody ever will. We'll hold this title until they decide to retire. Now, Abdul the Butcher can't be here this week. Shut up! He can't be here this week because he's doing some bounty hunter work for me. But he'll be back next week, and he'll be taking care of business just like I want him to. Just like he can do it and nobody else can. Now, the people want to see the film here of what happened in Lakeland, Florida. And I have requested Mr. Soley, the dean of all sports commentators, I have requested that he show this tape. and he's going to show it. We're going to show what we did in Lakeland, what my champions did. They beat Dusty Rhodes. They beat Blackjack Mulligan. 1, 2, 3, right in the middle of the ring. And everybody knows it, and I know it. Rhodes knows it. Mulligan knows it. Ain't nothing nobody can do about it.
Well, let me explain one thing about this particular match. It was a match where anything goes, falls counted anywhere in the building, no disqualification. And certainly what did happen as we go now to the Lakeland Civic Center, you'll see exactly what Mr. Holliday is talking about. But again, I go back to the aged comment that certainly actions and pictures speak louder than words. And you'll see exactly how, in fact, this ill-gotten victory was gained.
I want you to look here, Mr. Sully. I want you to watch what's happening right here. Now, I asked my champions, I said, hey, just go slow for a minute. I said, give them a chance. I said, you're better than they are. We know it. They know it. I said, but we want the people to see that we're good sports and we're going to give them a chance. Now, look at Rhodes. Look at him begging here. Got him on his knees begging. That's where he belongs. That's where he ought to be, and that's where we're going to keep him. Right here. Look at it. Look at the champ. Go, Kareem. Go, baby. Look at that. There you go. Right on his back. Now, see, he could have pinned him right here. Right here. I said, no. I said, give him some slack here. Look at Mulligan coming there, the cheater. Cheaters never win. That's why we have the belts. That's why we have the trophy, because cheaters never win. That's why we'll all look at there. Oh, I love it. Yeah. Look at him on his back, can't get up, begging for Mulligan to come in and help him. Look at that. Well, too bad, Rhodes, because he can't do nothing to help you right now.
Well, all I can say here, of course, the United States Tag Team Championship was not on the line. And as I said earlier, falls counted anywhere in the building. Anything goes, no disqualification, no time limit. And
I want you to look at Mulligan over there clapping. What's he got to be clapping about? Huh? Look at this man. Look at his partner. Look at his partner right there on his can where he belongs. Look at him.
Well, the Zambuie Express, the United States Tag Team Champions, Mr. Elijah Akeem and Mr. Kareem Muhammad.
Look at there. Now, you talk about cheating. People call me cheap shot. Look at there. Look at Mulligan running in there. He can't stay in his corner. He knows he's got to cheat just to even have a chance to get in there against my man. Look at here. Look at that bear hug. How'd you like to be in that, Mr. Sully? Can you imagine the devastating power of those arms right there?
Well, I can indeed, and may I just say I certainly don't envy anybody who steps in the ring against your tag team combination. No one can take away their...
Shaking like a rag doll. Look at him. Look at him shaking like a rag doll right here on Nationwide TV. I love it. Pretty work, champs. Pretty work, baby.
Well, of course, what is upcoming is something else that certainly defies description by many, many people. And certainly it was a very saddening occasion for the thousands who jammed the Lakeland Civic Center. Right now, Dusty Rhodes apparently trying to reach out and tag, but that bear hug is taking its toll.
Gordon Sully, I'd like to know what you mean by a sad occasion for the thousands of people. The people came out there to see the champions. The people came out there to see the Zambuie Express, Elijah Akeem and Kareem Muhammad. They're champions, United States champions. These are people of the United States. These are the United States champions right here. That's who the people came to see. The United States champions, Elijah Akeem, Kareem Muhammad. And they're seeing them do pretty work. Look at Dusty Rhodes. The whole match was this way. He beat him. He beat him. He stomped him. He slapped him. There wasn't nothing Rhodes could do. Look at him. He's begging right now. He's begging right now.
No, knowing Dusty Rhodes, he is not begging, I can assure you that, and there's evidence of exactly what I'm talking about as Rhodes suddenly regains his feet, and perhaps we're going to see this situation turn around as Rhodes indeed uses that bionic elbow and then does make the tag with Blackjack Mulligan. Mulligan, the head of the family, moves in, and now tell me about Blackjack Mulligan, sir.
Okay, as I said, I just sent word up to my champs right here at this spot in the ring right here. I said, now look, give him a little chance here. Go easy on him. Let's see what he can do. Show him what we can take. That's all this was all about. You think Blackjack Mulligan could actually beat either one of these men, much less two at one time? All I said was, hey, just go in there, ease up a minute, show him what we can take. And that's what this is all about. Let's see, look at Dusty Rhodes in the corner. He tried to come in again, and I had to send Elijah over to take care of him. Hey, look here. Mayhem in the ring right here. Look at Mulligan right there.
Look at Mulligan. Who's this fellow in the suit?
Hey, now look, see right there? I always carry a towel in the ring to wipe my fevered brow of my champs. All I did right there was to give a fair chance to Mulligan. I came in with the towel, wiped the sweat out of his eyes, because I didn't want him to be able to say I had sweat in my eyes, I couldn't see what I was doing. I went in there, wiped his face for him, so he'd have no excuse. And everybody knows it. Everybody was there and saw it, and they know it's the truth.
Well, all I can say is that that victory, that battle, may have been won by the Zambuie Express, but the war is not over, sir.
That's right, the war is not over. The war has just begun. Now, Rhodes and Mulligan came out here and told us what they were going to do. Well, we went to Lakeland and showed them what we could do. We've already beat the top contenders. Anybody else who wants to come up and try it, maybe we'll give you a shot at it. I don't know. The fact is, what it probably ought to be is that we'll probably keep these belts for the rest of our lives until they decide to retire these belts, because these men will always be United States Tag Team Champions #1 forever.
I can think of one word, and one word only, that Blackjack Mulligan and Dusty Rhodes has on his mind, and that word would be, indeed, retribution. J.J. Dillon is an excellent student, no question about that. Graduated with his degree in sociology, has taken a lot of postgraduate work, and so consequently he has done a great deal of research on the family itself. And we're going to take a look right now at part 2 of the Saga of the Family.
As part 2 of the Saga of the Family continues, I want to read you from The Cowboy Culture, written by David Barry. And he says, quote, "The golden age of the real cowboy in the American West was gone as the 20th century dawned, yet a cowboy culture was still glowing brightly in the minds of Americans. While this culture still permeates our society, it is not the culture of the real 19th century cowboy." What this is really saying, and as I touched on last week, is sure cowboy Ron Bass has been known to frequent the occasional honky-tonk, drink a little Jack Daniels, maybe do the two-step with a young lady, but he's still in touch with the 20th century because he leaves not by horseback, not in a pickup truck, but in his customized Corvette. Barry Windham, because of the father-son relationship, is really blinded by this whole situation, so that the family really comes down to 2 individuals that are real outlaws. And I promise to bring you the cold, hard facts. And what I have here are notarized affidavits from law enforcement officials in various parts of this country. And what they say is that because of the rowdy behavior of one Blackjack Mulligan and one Dusty Rhodes, that they were thrown out of and told never to come back to the Lone Star Cafe, a honky-tonk in New York City, and Poppy's up in Ocala. Now you might think, oh, maybe that's a coincidence. But I have papers here that they've been barred from the Lone Star Cafe in New York City, Gillies in Pasadena, Texas, Desperados in Kansas City, Billy Bob's in Fort Worth. Now to bring it a little closer to home, I want you to take a look at this picture. This is a picture of Blackjack Mulligan's uncle, Buford Mulligan Windham, and his wife, Blackjack's Aunt Hattie. Now they took their life savings to buy the Pike Cafe in Eagle Pass, Texas. And of course, the first 2 to frequent with any regularity were Blackjack Mulligan and Dusty Rhodes. And within 6 weeks, the front door had been kicked down so many times that there was not sufficient wood left on the frame with which to reattach the hinges. Chairs were broken in fights, tables were broken, women feared for their very lives and no longer frequented the Pike Cafe. Men were beaten up, carried out of there, so that within 3 months period of time, the clientele dwindled down to 2 people, Blackjack Mulligan and Dusty Rhodes. Uncle Buford had to finally declare bankruptcy, closed down the Pike Cafe, and within 2 weeks, he was found drunk in the gutter, and Aunt Hattie died of a broken heart. Next week, I'm going to profile Virgil Riley Runnels, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and bring you the cold, hard facts.
Introducing first from Mexico City, Mexico, weighing in at 205 pounds, Hector Guerrero. His opponent under the exclusive management of Mr. James J. Dillon from Tampa, Texas, at 285 pounds, Cowboy Ron Bass.
controversial saddle. And Barry Windham, the Florida heavyweight champion, has joined me here at the desk. Barry will be lending his comments to this match as well as Buddy Cope. And it is Bass going up against Hector Guerrero, who is certainly one of the most popular wrestlers to come down the pike in a long, long time. And even though he falls into the junior heavyweight division, he's got great speed, great tenacity, and great skill, Barry.
You know, Gordon, Ronnie Bass always thinks he's full of surprises. But right now, I've got a few surprises for Ronnie Bass. Looks like Hector Guerrero is filling into some, too.
And it's Guerrero.
Come on, Hector.
Well, that's Guerrero almost had that match very quickly there. Right now, you know, Gordon, it seems like the controversy between the saddle and the Florida title could be coming to an end. A week ago, Ronnie Bass refused to wrestle Barry because Barry was no longer Florida champion. But now, Barry, you have that title back. What's his excuse going to be now?
That's right. You know, we've already been over that, buddy. I do have the title. It's sitting right here in front of me. And I have something else that I want to show y'all a little bit later that I just happened to pick up last week. And I think it will come as a big shot of Ronnie Bass and J.J. Dillon.
Guerrero electrifying the crowd here at the Sportatorium as he has just out-wrestled and out-fought Ron Bass thus far. He has been constantly ahead in this match, buddy.
Well, Ron Bass is completely confused and befuddled and amazed. You can see the consternation on the face of J.J. Dillon there. J.J. Dillon has lost that contented look that he always has. J.J. Dillon right now is a confused man, too, wondering what is Ron Bass going to do next. Hector Guerrero has had Ron Bass in trouble for the entire amount of this match. This Hector Guerrero is just constantly, here's another terrific move and a flying emphasis.
You know, Ronnie Bass looks a little lost here. He doesn't know what to do.
He's coming outside of the ring and is now obviously getting some hurried advice in from a very, very concerned J.J. Dillon. And Dillon now apparently applying some pressure to Bass, trying to psych him up. Wish we could do that to the Buccaneers.
Oh, but they sure did.
There he goes.
Well, Barry, let me ask you this. I've had people, wrestling fans, all week long asking me about why is these saddles so important. Would you care to elaborate on that, or just time will tell?
Well, buddy, you know this saddle has been around for a very long time. Ronnie Bass, here it is. See?
Rolling reverse by Hector Guerrero, man.
Come on, Hector.
Hector has been moving so very ooh, brother. Caught by Bass in a hard right hand that time.
Well, when it's kept down to wrestling, it seems like Ron Bass is no match at wrestling against Hector Guerrero. He just doesn't seem to know where he's at. Now, Ron Bass is now possibly for the count. 1, 2. He just barely kicked out the fight.
J.J. Dillon pulling him up. Bass caught him from behind. Has Guerrero in trouble there.
Now, Gordon, did y'all see that? Hector Guerrero had Ronnie Bass covered right there.
Full power slam by Cowboy Ron Bass.
Ronnie, you come on, I'm ready.
Well, challenge has been offered there, but we've got to go to a break. We've got to go to a break. Mike Davis moving out against Dr. X. We just want to mention real quickly, too, on Saturday, October 29th, in Tampa, the Tampa East Sertoma Club is sponsoring the 12th annual Peter P. Halpin Memorial. It's a 10-kilometer walkathon for crippled children and particularly cerebral palsy. And several of the wrestlers will be on hand at Lowry Park at the conclusion of that. Meanwhile, Davis moving extremely well against this Dr. X, although Dr. X was back at him again.
Well, you know, Mike Davis has really been electrifying all the wrestling fans throughout Florida since his appearance here, which is the second time he's been here. It's been quite some years back. We were here the first time, and this man has really been going all out. Dr. X right now is a worthy opponent. We can't underestimate this man. Seems like he's just using that balled up right fist in the And that big head into the turnbuckle there, I can attest to the fact that when your head hits that turnbuckle, although it's padded, that is a sudden stop, and there's nothing but steel turnbuckles under that padding, and it can really make you see stars.
I think, too, buddy, the fact that it jams the neck so often. Ooh, beautiful move by Davis as he's got Dr. X in trouble.
That's right, Gordon. It's much like even the pile driver, which jams the neck, jams the vertebrae down through the spine, and that really does a lot of damage. Looks like Dr. X was just barely to come out from under that in time. It looked like it was going to be a 3 count there for Mike Davis. Well, now he's just raking the eyes of Mike Davis, trying to gain an advantage.
And it is Davis in trouble up against those ring ropes. Davis, originally from Jacksonville, now makes his own beautiful move. Vertical body block. Count of 3. Mike Davis using that vertical body block and used it very, very effectively that time on Dr. X. Buddy Colt has moved to ringside where he's going to get some words from Mike Davis.
Well, Mike, I'd like to congratulate you on a very electrifying win over Dr. X there. And since you've been here in Florida, you've been having some problems with J.J. Dillon and now gentleman Jim Holiday.
You know, buddy, I asked for a return match in a New Jersey street fight. I got it, and I dethroned the king of the New Jersey street fights, J.J. Dillon. And I'm so proud of myself for that. But now, the ultimate thing. I finally got Gentleman Jim Cheap Shot Holiday. He's got to put his tights on, buddy. He's got to put his tights on and he's got to face me. And Holiday, am I happy.
What? I want to know what this is. Tight? I want to know what sick, perverted, demented mind came up with this. I shouldn't have to put on tights against anybody. I'm a 3-piece suit man all the way, and I won't tolerate it. There's 2 ways with me. That's my way or the highway, and I won't tolerate this from nobody. I'll find out about this. I'll get out of it. It'll never happen.
You know, Mike,
You think he's going crazy now? Wait till he gets in the ring and the bell rings with me, brother. You really gonna go nuts then.
I think it's one match I'd like to say. It might be worth the price of a ticket just to see Bird Legs, Holiday, and Tight. We'll be back.
You know something, as I stand here today, my mind drifts back to another time of my childhood, deep in West Texas, when myself and little Virgil Riley Reynolds, Dusty Rhodes were just kids going to school, riding broncs. And our uncle used to talk about freedom. The enjoyment of freedom to go to school, the rights of a person to mind his own business and to own his own land and to do his own thing. And here I stand before you today, the people of America, the freest people in all the world. Travel around the world and take a look at the other countries. And we have it right here. We have the best thing going for us in all the whole globe. But every now and then, freedom kind of messes up a little bit because it lets factions, it lets people come in that express some viewpoints. Take for instance, like in the schools, no praying, brother. Now that ain't right. But sometimes freedom kind of lets people go too far. And Elijah and Kareem, you know what I'm talking about, brother, because you're coming fresh off a victory of the 2 most awesome people in the world today. Now, Dusty and I are not the toughest, meanest people that ever come down the pike. But, brother, we'll go. We'll coondog, brother. You know what I'm talking about? We'll climb the tree. Brother, you put me to sleep. Something nobody has ever been able to do. Now, Jimmy Holiday, I got to admit one thing. You, without a doubt, are with one of the meanest, wildest, toughest groups that I've ever been involved in since I've been in professional wrestling. The champions, admittedly. You won it fair and square, supposedly in New Mexico. But if you think for 1 minute that radical viewpoint of Kareem, who now seems to be in charge of Holiday and Leroy, control of everything, is going to take us over and consume us, You are very mistaken, my friend. Because Dusty Rhodes and myself, we are dirt, we are down on the ground, we are as low as we ever been in our life. And when you come to talk about freedom, Zambuie, I'm going to tell you something, just like it's in the stars, you can go to bank with it, we coming back, and that's when we're most dangerous. Dangerous men of all time. Be ready to lose those titles.
Our country has been built on the great American pioneering spirit that made people fight for what they believed was right. It's nice to know that spirit still exists within the family. That's our Take 5 for this week.
Introducing first from Waco, Texas, weighing in at 232 pounds, Sam Houston. His partner from the Pocono Mountains of New York, weighing in at 450 pounds, the very popular Big Daddy. His opponents from parts unknown, weight unknown, Mr. Olympia. And from the great Northwest Territory at 220 pounds, Wild Bill Snyder.
Let me very quickly make a comment about Big Daddy and the little toy duck that he brought into the ring with him. A rather poignant story about that. Big Daddy hasn't become childish at all. He was visiting a hospital, and in one particular youngster who was very badly crippled insisted that Big Daddy take his duck with him as a good luck talisman. And so Big Daddy, in deference and in honor to that youngster, told him he would, and so he brings it to the ring with him all the time now. And as I said, a very poignant story, but I think it also typifies the kind of a man Big Daddy is. His heart goes out to those who are less fortunate than he is.
Well, you're right, Gordon. It shows that Big Daddy is a big man in many different ways, not just in size. And right now, it looks like Sam Houston is getting Mr. Olympia in trouble almost, and down goes Mike Sam Houston with a big knee upside his, the side of his head there, up for a full body slam, it looks like.
Mr. Olympia makes the tag with Wild Bill Snyder. Snyder from the great Northwest. A lot of extra punishment there before the break. And it is Bill Snyder very quickly pressing that advantage. And Sam Houston, good upper body strength that time, powered away. Mr. Olympia catches him. Sam Houston needs to get over and tag up with that army that he's got in reserve, a real arsenal. Neck breaker on Houston.
Well, you know, a neck breaker can be a finishing hold. I used that many times years ago as a finishing hold. It really jerks the neck around. It pinches the nerves going up through the spine, and you can really kind of lose complete control of your senses with that hold if applied properly. Now, it looked like Wild Bill Snyder was going for a backdrop, and Mike Sam Hughes was able to block it, and in comes Big Daddy. Wild Bill could be in trouble now, Gordon.
They're both in trouble now. 450 pounds of Big Daddy. All right, he makes the tag. Caught him, and it is Big Daddy just dropping Mike Sam Houston across him like a sack of potatoes, and it's all over. And so Mike Sam Houston and Big Daddy victorious over Wild Bill Snyder and Mr. Olympia. And we may get a chance to say have a closing word from these two, or we may not. Time is rapidly running out, but certainly the situation, the saga of the family, the retort today by Blackjack Mulligan, and Mulligan and Rhodes want retribution. Right now in the closing seconds, gentlemen, congratulations.
How you doing? How you doing, Mr. Sully? How's everything?
Just fine, and
my duck.
Yeah, I told the folks about the story.
I'm really attached to this duck, Mr. Sully. Nobody messes with my duck. I'm really, the little boy that gave it to me really means something to me. This duck is everything.
Well, I'll tell you what, that, as Buddy Cole said, the Big Daddy is a big man in many ways. That's all the time we have. Until next week, so long.